flowers were so many different colors. She loved sitting on a log, letting the breeze flow through her beautiful brown hair. Liang would walk through her garden daily, smelling the beautiful flowers and letting her feet flow through the soil. Liang had a beautiful red bridge in her garden. She loved standing on that red bridge with a sense of sadness, but nobody knew why. Liang would stand on the red bridge and stare out into the beautiful, peaceful water in her garden. There were many flowers in her garden. There were purple flowers, yellow, orange, blue, red, green. The sun shined on those beautiful flowers. Liang loved smelling the flowers in her garden. She would pick them and give them out to people in the town. She also grew fruit and vegetables in her garden. She loved to give out the fruits and the vegetables, for they were bright, beautiful, and fresh. Liang had a beautiful sister. Her sister's name was Ruby. Ruby was a beautiful woman as well. The only person that did not know her own beauty was Ruby. Ruby was jealous of Liang, for Liang's beauty was pure. There was a man in the village named Teo, a tall, dark, handsome man. Ruby was in love with Teo, but Teo secretly longed for Liang. Ruby decided to put together a plan to seduce Teo. She took all of her clothes off and crawled into the bed with him one night. When Teo found out it was her, he quickly threw her out of the bed, for he was very, very upset. Ruby was so distraught, she found a witch and begged the witch to put a spell on Teo, that the first woman he saw when he awoke, he would fall madly in love with her. The witch put the spell on Teo, so Ruby stood outside of his window all night waiting for him to wake up. But when he awoke, he went through the back door to the little red bridge to watch Liang stare across the water. This morning he fell madly in love with her, for he did not know why. And Ruby was so upset by this, she could not stop crying. She cried and she cried all night, all day, for days and days, until her sadness became anger and bitterness, and it dwelled within her and transformed her countenance. Liang and Teo were eventually married, deeply in love. They had a beautiful wedding on the beach. The sun shone golden on their wedding, for they were truly blessed. listening